Hi, everybody. Ron Placone here. You're watching another edition of Media Bites. Coming at you a little early here. It's actually Sunday right now, but I pulled up this study and I really wanted to talk about it, so I figured I might as well dive right in, and then hopefully we're going to discuss this more on the morning show tomorrow. So we'll see about all that. But basically, there was a study that the corporate media has been circulating that finds a correlation between marijuana use and fertility, particularly in men under the age of 30. And what they did was that they measured abnormalities in sperm, and they noticed that some of the higher abnormalities in sperm was noticeable in men under the age of 30 that have used marijuana within the past 3 months. So first of all, why was this reported? That's the first question you have to ask yourself. And for me, it's like, well, okay, you have the drug war still going on, and we've come a long way. Like, we really have. Certain states are now, evolving on the way marijuana is perceived, and they're decriminalizing it and so forth. But we still have a long way to go, and the reason we still have a long way to go is because we have a for-profit prison system that makes a lot of money by putting people with drug offenses in prison. We also have a pharmaceutical industry that would not like to see something like marijuana cut into their profits, that they get from prescribing medications that, just for the record, in a lot of cases are actually a little more dangerous for you. So we still have a long way to go, even though general consensus is that we understand that marijuana being demonized the way it is a result of a propaganda campaign that was one of the most successful propaganda campaigns in United States history, starting in the 30s up until pretty much present day. But we're still not there when it comes to policy. We're still kind of evolving on that. But the media has a lot of incentive to report on it. A, because it pulls on people's heartstrings. People have strong convictions one way or another. And B, because some of the powers that be, they benefit when marijuana is demonized still, because that's a status quo they do not want to see shifted. So, well, what does this study mean? The headline from a CNN article said marijuana may affect fertility in young men. It starts with a quote that says, "If you're a cannabis user and you're trying for a baby, stop." And that quote's attributed to one of the people conducting this study. So right away, I go to the study itself, because I always want to see, like, well, who's funding this? What incentives do they potentially have? And it turns out this is from the University of Sheffield, and it is in the Journal of Human Reproduction. So basically, their goal is to try to find commonalities in fertility and to try to answer some questions that, in regards to, can my basic lifestyle choices affect my ability to have it, to conceive a child. So that's sort of their agenda. They're not being funded by the Koch brothers or anything like that. It's not like they're, a result of some lobbying money or anything like that. They're genuinely doing research. But if you go to the study itself, the summary answer they have is that common lifestyle choices, don't really make a lot of contributions to the risk of poor sperm morphology. So what they did was they analyzed the sperm itself and tried to notice irregularities, and they did find there were over 1,000 people assessed in this, and they noticed a commonality: use of cannabis in the 3 months prior in men under the age of 30. They had more irregularities in their sperm. However, there's still a lot of questions here. I mean, first of all, this was based off of just reports of recreational drug use. The participants themselves volunteered this information. It's not like anybody was given a drug test and it's said without a doubt that they used marijuana. So this indicates a couple things. First of all, maybe men under the age of 30 were a little more likely to be honest about their recreational drug use, or maybe they're a little more likely, out of all the participants involved with this, maybe they were the more likely ones to still use recreational marijuana. I mean, both of those are possibilities, and maybe instead this is just more of a testament to out of all the men sampled, a certain percentage is just going to have, irregular sperm morphology, and out of the ones that were under 30, more of them happen to have reported recreational marijuana use. But it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that there were men over 30 that reported less marijuana use or reported marijuana use but didn't have any irregularities in their sperm. It doesn't say anything like that. It just notices that that was one commonality they found, because there's a lot of systems that look for these commonalities. And, in my master's program, I didn't do a ton of quantitative research. That really wasn't my field by any means, but I did do some studies using SPSS, which is like a data software that tries to find commonalities in the research and in the statistics and stuff like that. But a lot of times the commonalities you'll find in that kind of software is based on the way data was entered. So if you're just going on these answers and you're just looking for some kind of connection, well, okay, you found this connection, but how significant is it? How significant is it that, okay, well, maybe these were the only people that reported recreational marijuana. Maybe these were, maybe this was more reflexive of just the amount of people that had irregularities in general, as opposed to, oh, we can definitely say without a doubt that marijuana affects fertility. But, you see how kind of the media sort of jumps to that a little bit because that's a pretty juicy headline. And in fairness, the headline in the article in question just says marijuana may affect fertility in young men. Is that, yeah, young men. So it's not like they were like, if you smoke pot, you're not going to be able to have a child. Ah! Like, they didn't do that, in fairness. And I certainly understand that that's a much easier headline than something like a scientific study shows that there may be a correlation between marijuana use and fertility. I understand that. So it's not like the headline was totally misleading or anything like that. It's kind of just, playing the game a little bit. But what's interesting, if that same correlation was featured orange juice or something like that, you wouldn't even see this. This wouldn't have even made the news. If they noticed that, oh, it just so happens that some of the irregular sperm morphology in men, they all drank orange juice 3 months prior, like that wouldn't even be in the news. But because it's marijuana, and even the study itself acknowledges, the overall answer on the summary answer from the study is that common lifestyle choices don't really make a lot of contribution because a lot of these studies, haven't been conducted thorough enough to, without a doubt, say that there's a correlation between certain lifestyle choices and certain activities. So they found that this small correlation, and again, this correlation leaves a lot of questions. Like what about, did men over 30 who reported marijuana use, did they not have irregular sperm morphology? So is there something connected with age? Or was it just men under 30 that were reporting marijuana use and that there was some irregularity just amidst that age group and that's something they had in common? Were you targeting people that use marijuana? One of the indicators of this study, they wanted to factor in recreational drug use. So were they looking for marijuana users, and just amidst those people they found these irregularities, which may be a statement to, a certain amount of the population is just going to have irregular sperm. So, there's a lot of kind of questions in this study, but you see how the media sort of jumps to this, and then they pick out a juicy quote that one of the doctors said, even though I could not find that quote in the study itself, but I can see how if you're really trying to conceive any correlation, you're going to say, okay, there's some kind of correlation here, so let's not do this. That's totally understandable because that's the goal of these types of studies. They're looking for kind of any correlation and how you can make yourself most fertile, right? But the media is more looking for a kind of juicy headline that can potentially demonize marijuana. That's kind of what they're trying to do here, it seems like to me. So I'm going to have to go on the camp of this is more media hype. I think that this study itself was was a worthwhile study, and it was an interesting study, and of course I have a link to the study itself, and if you go to that study, you'll notice that they're not kind of saying without a doubt, oh, pot affects fertility. This is more of the media analysis of it, and the media are kind of grabbing at something juicy here. Again, if the commonality was orange juice, this study would just be in an academic journal. It would not have, made the press the way it did. So it's something interesting to think about. It's something interesting to look at, and I kind of enjoy dissecting studies like these. But you've been watching another edition of Media Bites. We'll be coming at you later this week. I'm going to try to talk about this study some more on my radio show as well, probably tomorrow, Monday. And last thing, for anybody that's seeing this now, if you're in the Nashville area tonight, that is Sunday night, I will be at the East Room for the Spiffy Squirrel Comedy Show, where I'll be doing stand-up. I will not be talking about studies in the news and the drug war. I'll be doing stand-up, but if you're around, stop by. So thanks for tuning into this edition of Media, and this is Ron Placone signing out.